Reddit, what movie helped you through a rough time? When I was a kid, my favorite movie was Titan AE. In high school, my close friend was killed in a car accident, not his fault. I was having a panic attack and I just needed to feel like a kid again, so I watched it. It helped a lot for those 90 minutes and helped take the edge off. Shrek 3 was a stellar return from the dark depths of sequelhood and in a lot of ways reminded me of Paul Blart Mall Cop. Blart Cop. I don't know if this has been said yet, but Paul Blart Mall Cop really cheered me up. Paul Blart Mall Cop 3, Segway Drift. I was already happy then I saw Real Smart Market Spy. It's a Bollywood version of an American masterpiece. After that I got happier and ate shells and cheese. Whiplash. The movie was so good that it made me cheer up. Where are my username brethren? Surely, if we were ever to meet, it would be here, it would be now, while the masses are singing their praises of the Blartman. Halloween. Crazy Stupid Love. Shut up and watch it. Paul Blart Call. This is the most ridiculous thing I've seen, but right now I'm going through a stressful time studying for finals. Indirectly, Paul Blart Mall Cop cheered me up. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Judge me, but the One Direction documentary helped me through a tough time last year. Pal Singh Mall Police, a beautiful Bollywood love story that inspired me to become a mall policeman and find the love of my life. Annie Hall helped me through a rough breakup recently. I love how real it is. It solidifies the truth that not all relationships end happily. I remember after my dad passed I saw that Paul Blart movie in theaters. I can't really explain, but something changed that day. The amount of family comedy in the movie was just brilliant. I was still sad, but it really helped ease the pain. If I could have just 2 more hours with my father, I would have taken him to see Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 opening night. I would have gotten him all of the candy and popcorn he wanted. I know he would have loved it. Paul Blart Mall Cop. The wackness helped me through some pretty strange shit during high school. When my family die of Ebola, I watch a Paul Blart Mall Policeman and all better. Bad English, from Africa. Closer. It is a fucked up movie about people cheating and using each other. Having problems of the where am I going in this relationship. Perhaps weird for a man. Anyways, realizing that I wasn't happy in the relationship and seeing no effort from her to make it better, I broke up the next morning. I felt better being single. It is not an empowering movie or a romantic love story. It is a fucked up reality of damaged characters. The nobody is perfect, so be happy made me more comfortable being alone but not lonely. I didn't want to waste more time going to an eventual breakup. Till reading this thread that I should watch Paul Blart Mall Cop. It sucks when you're legitimately interested in an AskReddit question and it turns out to be a joke thread. To get through this disappointment, I'll have to watch my favorite film of all time, Paul Blart Mall Cop. 500 Days of Summer. About Time was great, really makes you appreciate what you have. Deleted. Deleted. Not a movie, but after 2 close friends of mine died within a month of one another, I watched all of Avatar, The Last Airbender. I think it helped me escape a bit. It was such a pretty show, and even the sad parts seemed light-hearted compared to what I was feeling inside. My mom traveled to Vietnam and apparently the movie Paul Blart Trung Tom Mu Sam Can Sat was very meaningful and very well loved in the country. Deleted. Paul Blart Goes to Space is in production. Moneyball. Sometimes I'm my own worst enemy. Nice to know it happens to the best of us. Edit, Ballpark Mop Call. Ink, so emotional, so relatable. Deleted. The Time Traveler's Paul Blart Mall Cop wife. It was a little different than the book but still good. My sophomore year of high school, I was very sad and depressed for a while. I sort of felt empty in a way. I had no desire to do anything. All I felt is like I needed to get away. I saw the movie The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and I related to the character in a way. I felt alienated. I usually hung out with an older crowd too. For some reason, the movie helped me overcome that feeling of anxiousness, and for that I am forever grateful. Good Will Hunting. Better Call Paul. Can we please get back to Rampart? I felt like I sucked at everything I used to be good at. I watched Kiki's Delivery Service and it made me happy. Edit, lol posted this then read the thread xdol. What is Paul Blart? Baby don't maul me. Don't cop me. No more. Whenever I think about Spirited Away I just get a huge wave of nostalgia. Masterpiece. When I lived in Colorado, I felt very lonely. I was straight out of the 8th grade and began attending an entirely new school. This school was 6th grade through high school, which made it even harder to fit in with the already established cliques. On top of this, I had moved away from my mother to live with my father. My mother was always so gentle and kind, but my father was much more ruthless and harder to deal with. But, I tried to pull through since I really wanted to go to this school. It wasn't until a few months that a deep depression began to sink in. We had tried everything, therapy, exercise, more therapy, but all of it failed. Even with my new friends, I just felt empty and didn't feel like I was having nearly as much fun as I was having just last year. It got really bad to a point when I almost killed myself before my father got home. But, I tried my best to keep dragging on. I took a stroll down to the video store as I usually would on a usual lonely Saturday and picked up a few movies. One of those films was The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I had heard a lot about this film and decided to check it out. I rented my movies and walked back home. Although I had gotten about 4 films that day, I was particularly excited to watch The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I was always a fan of coming-of-age films and, given all the positive feedback I had heard about this one, I could hardly wait to watch it. As soon as I got home, I pulled out my usual chair and turned on the DVD player. I opened the copy of The Perks of Being a Wallflower and, lo and behold, it was a copy of Paul Blart, Mall Cop. I watched that instead, which caused my dick to grow and everyone at my school to praise me. Movies dope AF. Really odd, but I watched American History X the day my mother died. I don't really know why I picked that movie or what it means. Personally I like Titanic. But that's just me. The Motorcycle Diaries helped me figure myself out a bit. The Dark Knight. Everything Burns. Just listen to the entire album of Yes. By Jason Mraz. If you are going through a hard time, and you don't well up by the time you listen to 3 Little Things, then nothing can help you. Watching Paul Blart Mall Cop cured my dog of cancer and made my fish stop being such an arrogant dick all the time. By the end of this masterpiece they were both doing backflips through underwater flaming hoops. This is the best thread ever. Mall Blart meme team got me through chemo. I also got my feet replaced with Segway wheels. Thanks kilojoules less than 3. Ball Fart Mall Cop. I had a pretty rough patch a few years back. It started with watching the Darjeeling Limited, when I started bawling less than halfway through and couldn't stop. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's really quite humorous as well. I think it takes a couple watches before you get past that to the complexity of the characters. Unless you're used to Wes Anderson. Anyway, the next movie I watched was Australia, because the first half is fairly light-hearted, and the rest is more moving than sad. Again, I cried through more than half the movie. So, I figured maybe my hormones were going super wacky, and I just really needed a good, cathartic cry. I followed up by watching Titanic, Grave of the Fireflies, Atonement, Moulin Rouge, 500 Days of Summer, Amelie, The Science of Sleep, Eat Pray Love, The Dark Knight, even watched the last song multiple times. In a regular mood, it's tolerable if you pretend her little brother doesn't exit. Then I watched Remember Me. Very nice film. It felt relatable, and it was happy. And then the end came. I could not stop crying. It developed into a full-blown panic attack. The first one I ever had at that. I had no idea what the fuck was going on. I was shaking and couldn't stand up. I couldn't control the muscles in my face. It was awful. All panic attacks are awful, but that one has stuck with me over the years. Eventually I managed to talk to my brother, who actually did all the talking and telling me to drink water, which helped a ton because you can't cry when you're drinking water. I can't really remember the day after that. My brain and body were still trying to figure out why I was dying and then why I didn't die. Deciding that I really didn't want to cry anymore, whether or not my subconscious was cool with that, I turned to my 100% reliable source for happy endings. I watched Pride and Prejudice, the new one with Keira Knightley. I just watched it over and over again. I started to feel better after a couple days of this, and kept it on in the background as I worked on all of my studying and things that I had missed while I was having a bit of a mental breakdown. A year later I started treatment for general anxiety and clinical depression. I think that if something like this happened to me again, I'd probably go a similar route, maybe just shorter. There is a difference between being controlled by your emotions, and denying the amount any situation might be able to affect you. It is a fine, delicate line, but a crucial tightrope to practice on in the form of mindfulness. Anyway, these may not be what you're looking for, but you should give them all a go. Except for Grave of the Fireflies, they all have pretty normal amounts of happy and sad, instead of straight up devastation.